Hi, welcome to our Mobile Revolutionary series, where we share stories, tips, and trends about all things mobile from industry thought leaders and practitioners. Today's episode is brought to you by HelpShift and AppFollow, which is a leading app performance and review management platform. Speaking of, today's episode is all about numbers. We're going to talk about a concept called the magic number, and that's something that applies across many industries. For example, the magic number in baseball is used as a way of forecasting who's going to win the playoffs or a division title. The magic number in the software industry is actually a very different metric. It's used by companies to determine how much gas or investment they should put into a startup, depending on its marketing and sales efficiency. So when we think about the magic number, it's a function of how much money you put into something and then what you get out of it. In the SaaS space, a magic number of 1 basically suggests that for every dollar that you put into sales and marketing, you're going to generate $1 in annual revenue. Now, the question is, does this magic number apply to game development? So today we've got 2 guests from Gram Games who are going to help us unpack those magic numbers in games. I'd like to welcome our guests. Gram Games is a Turkish developer of social games intended to create real bonds through play. You might know a couple of their titles, Merge Magic and Merge Dragons, for example. Today we've got Elvin Gulek, who's product manager for Merge Magic, and we have Sibel Piroglu, who's the head of customer support at Gram Games overall. Welcome to the show. Before we get started, I would love for Elvin and Sibel to introduce themselves and tell us who they are.
Sure. Hey, Janice, thanks for the introduction and so happy to be here. And I'm Elvan and I'm in Gram Games at almost for 3.5 years now. And I'm the product manager for our game Merge Magic. I have started as a social media manager at Gram Games, but it was always my dream to be in the gaming industry. So I made my way up here. And I have worked in e-commerce and digital agencies before. And I gather all my experience to use it in Gram Games with the production role, which I have now. That is all, I guess.
That's awesome. I have to say that, I've been in a number of different tech industries, and only in gaming do I hear very often, I've always dreamt of doing this. So that's super cool.
Yeah, I think because it's a really fun industry. And if you are also a gamer and it's something like you love to do that by yourself in your free times, it's in your routine, and having it as a work, it's really something amazing.
Yes. Sibel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Janice. Thanks for having us. Yes, my name is Sibel, and I'm customer support manager in Gram Games. And for almost 5 years, I've been working in Gram Games. And before this company, I was working in the sports industry. And I started as an executive assistant here in Gram Games. But one of the things that I like most about Gram is that it sees your skills and your abilities and gives opportunity to switch between departments. And 2 years later, I switched to customer support department, and I settled fast. I learned a lot, and I'm still learning. And because with these tools, for example, with HelpShift and AppFollow, there are always new updates and new features where we are able to try new things.
That's awesome. I see the parallel too between sports and games, right? I mean, sports are a form of gaming, and the idea that you're always working really hard to achieve the next level, I think is exciting for many of us who grew up loving games.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about why the two of you are here together, because we believe that the relationship between product management and customer support, or player support in the case of games, is super important in terms of driving the best overall experience for players and users. And in order for any studio to create those amazing experiences, they have to partner together between product and support. And what glues them together generally are a set of KPIs. In this case, we want to talk a little bit about whether those KPIs can truly serve as a magic number that tells you you're making the right decisions. So I would love to start off by asking Elvin, on the product side, what numbers have meaning for you as you think about game design, player acquisition, and then revenue once you launch a game?
Sure. At first, when we decided to add a new feature into our game or a new edition, we are having this, we call pitch templates that our designers prepared before. Like if they have something in their mind, or it can be someone in the game team as well, not only designers, they can give ideas as well. So the designers are putting them into a pitch template, which means like it has the issues, the solution, or the new ideas. And beside that, it has like the target KPIs that they want to achieve with that specific feature. So it's not always like revenue, like it can be duration of play, like engagement or retention. It can differ, but it's the important part is to make them known before we are going to develop this feature. So it also has the needed time, the stakeholders and everything inside. So we are moving forward with that pitch template. Like if we say that, okay, let's do this feature, we are going to have it like long discussions with the team, and then we are going to add it into the game. And after that, for example, for my daily routine, the numbers I check is like the first install, and of course the revenue and the cost to see the balance between them. It's important because if you're spending too much and not getting that much, it's a problem. So you need to balance that out. Other than that, ARPDAU is something important, the average revenue per daily active user, because it's a metric that helps us understand how well our monetization is actually. So it's one of them. And other than that, if you think that you have just globally launched your game, of course, the first and most important metric is the retention, like the first day retention, and after that 7, 28, and it goes like that 19 and such. It is important. And other than that, we are checking the conversion for day 7 as well. It's also important because when we introduce a new feature or something that we want our players to engage more, and in our case, it's like making them convert to payers, like, and want them to spend for features and the stuff that we are adding into our game, and making them convert. It's something important. So we are also checking that as well. And other than that, and of course, we have reviews. That is the most important part because we want to see how players react to the things that we are releasing and we are adding to the stores. Like each and every month, I can say we are releasing a new version. So that is also important.
Got it. Okay, so we talked about almost the entire life cycle of a game. So if we take it back to the beginning, it sounds like at the idea or concept stage, inside the pitch decks that I assume designers and developers or product managers are trying to build a case for, why should we spend time and money developing a new game feature or a new game? It sounds like there's a number of KPIs that you use during that pitch stage. And you talked about something really interesting, that you do to sort of crowdsource ideas and then make decisions on whether those ideas get accepted or rejected. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. It's like we believe that it's a team thing, like we are doing. It's not a decision like I can give, like, okay, as a product manager, I want this to happen. I want to add this feature to our game. It's not something like that. It's something that we are always talking about, sharing our ideas about. So, but of course, it can always need to be like, we need to check the data as well. For example, if we are saying that, okay, we have events for the weekends, but let's add another type of event to our game, we need to check the data for that. For example, if the events that we are already having, does they work, the actually engagement of that, duration of play of that, the payers for that event that we have, that kind of like a lot of metrics. And so the data part is so important that we are making this kind of decision. But like I said, the ideation part is a team process, like we are doing it all together.
Got it. And you said that, you know, if you, for instance, are testing a concept, you look at things like day one retention and percentage of conversion. Is that right? In order for you to accept or reject an idea or to carry an idea forward?
Yes, we can say that. But like I said, at the pitch templates, we have other target KPIs as well. It can be, for example, duration of play. Like if we want to increase our duration of play, and we, with that, let's say, new kind of feature, we are going to check that. It's not always like you don't need to constantly check one KPIs, like let's say revenue. Okay, the revenue is up, but it's not the thing that we want to achieve with this feature. Understand you mean? Like it can be like duration of play, like I said. So we need to check that to see if we succeed with this feature or not.
Got it. And you also believe there's a difference between the metrics that you use for hyper casual versus, you know, the in-game purchases, right? Duration of play, for example, I assume might be a leading indicator to a player's likelihood to make an in-game purchase. The longer they play, the more likely they'll make a purchase.
Yep, exactly. Like they are both like different types. Like you said, like when we were doing hyper casual, we were doing the DIYs for most of the week. So we were doing prototypes with the team. Like we were having little teams, like with the ideas we had that moment. So we were doing the prototype in 2 days and add them to the stores and to see how they perform. So it was like a really fast process. Like, okay, we are adding it to the store and seeing the retention. We are saying that works, that's not working. So we are going over with the ones that works that time. So the hyper casual process was really fast. Doing the DIYs, adding them to the store, it was like an ongoing process. But with the in-app purchase games, like you said, it's it also have a lot of content, of course, than the hyper casual ones, and also like very long duration of gameplay, because we have so much content in it. Like I said, for both Merge Magic and Merge Dragons, we have camp in Merge Dragons and garden in the Merge Magic. Players can add their items to their garden, like they are merging it, they are evolving their creatures, that kind of stuff. That's a lot of things going on. And beside that, at the events and seasons we are having, and also the levels they are playing. So it's like a more complicated and more fun to play and more engaging than the hyper casual ones. Hyper casual ones are like even with the process of making it is also same with the playing it. Like it's fast, you are playing, okay, this is really got me, but then the content is kind of gone, not like the in-app purchase ones. So right now we are giving all of our attention and all of our manpower to the in-app purchase games, the Merge Dragons and Merge Magic, and we want to achieve more with those two titles.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually want to extend this conversation to Sibel on the support side, because as you're developing games, different types of games, you know, starting with sort of a hyper casual gaming experience to a paid experience, one of the questions might be, do we look at the player metrics differently depending on, you know, what stage of gameplay they're at? So Sibel, I'd love to hear from you on, first off, when you think about player support, what are the metrics that matter to you in general?
Yes, well, custom support side could show the game's health. And for example, whenever we release a new version or a new feature, we immediately check the help shift. and we check the ticket volume, we check the issue breakdown of the tickets and how it's divided into the platforms. And for example, if we see an abnormal increase in the tickets, we can say that there's an issue, there's a bug in the game. We immediately report this to our team, to our product team, and they start to investigate. And then if they're able to reproduce it, they fix this bug. On the other hand, another platform is the reviews, where we check through the Follow, and especially from ratings 1 to 3, because with the ratings, with star ratings 4 and 5, mostly our players could be happy, but I check the ratings with 1 to 3 especially, because it's where our players start to complain about the game or where they indicate that there is an issue in the game. So we try to reply them and try to lead them to our support button. Other than that, we check the average ratings and we check the SLAs and CSAT numbers. What I can say that we are always looking for, we're always trying our best and to reach the best as we can. And so far, our metrics are looking good. Our CSAT is about 4.5. I also told my team, our outsource team, that I want to see 5. I always push them, and we are always try to find new replies or new approach to our players. And yeah, that's some of it, I guess.
Yeah, well, those are a lot of metrics, it sounds like. So out of all of those, we heard a few things. First is issue volume, because it sounds like that's probably an indicator for you on overall player engagement in general, right? So if you've got issue volumes that are constant versus if you see peaks and valleys, that sort of tells you something about player engagement.
Yes, it shows us where to focus. For example, we might have a bug in the game, but it could be a low ticket bug. So, for example, I go to Helpshift. There is a custom issue field side, and we have our main categories, and below that we have subcategories. So if I see, for example, a bug in the game, but not many tickets about it, I open a subcategory and I start to track this issue through our reports. And if it gets higher and if the ticket number increases in the subcategory, then I say, okay, this is a big bug, then it has to be fixed. And yeah, it's really important, the issue breakdown.
Mm-hmm. And then ultimately at the end of it is you measure CSAT to determine whether the players were happy with the support experience they had.
Yeah.
And
for example, we are always try to help our players, and we are always talking with our agents. We give information. I took this information from our product team and give it to the agents. And I have to inform them with the latest updates and latest changes in the game so that they can help our players as best as they can. So yeah, the CSAT is important, and we on a weekly basis and a monthly basis, we check the CSAT numbers, and if we find any decrease or any issue, we try to solve it.
Got it. Now, Elvin, CSAT. So we talked about this closing the loop, right? So Sibel's team is going to be handling player issues. If some of those issues sounds like if it's related to the way the game was developed, or if there were just problems with the overall app, that feedback makes its way to you and your team. But do you actually look at CSAT scores, or what is it on your side? What gives you the overall health of the player experience if it's not CSAT?
Yes, actually it's not CSAT, like the mostly customer support team is dealing with that. But the most important part is, one of the most important part is customer support is App Store ratings. Like we are checking them. We are having meetings with customer support team, so we are going over all this. So it's important. And also, like you said, whenever we have that kind of bugs in the game, like Sibel is letting us know about the things like sharing in the common Slack channels that we have for the game. We also have a channel called Bugs, so we can see all of the issues here, or QA team is there, everybody in the team is there. So it's like an open messaging platform for bugs. So customer support team is sharing that kind of things, like saying that, okay, we got this much ticket for this kind of issue. It can be a problem in the game. So our team is checking that. So if we need a hot fix, we are doing it. Or if it's something that we need to add or backlog and deal with the feature, we are doing it. But we are always getting know about all this kind of stuff like immediately, since they're always checking the help shift, and if they see an increase, they are warning us. And we also have some alerts in our Slack channel as well. For example, for Merge Magic, there is a certain cap. If we had more than that, we are getting alerts, like the team members getting it. So we are talking between ourselves to see that, like we can ask Sibel, is it okay? We are seeing that that much of issues right now. So it's kind of feel under control with everything we are doing right now.
Got it. Now, do you differentiate between issues that are experienced by your casual players versus your paid players? And how do you, is there some level of priority that happens depending on what kind of player they are? Or does it not matter?
No, well, all of our players are matters to us. So we try to be there as fast as possible we can. But for example, if one of our players asks a question about the gameplay and another player has an issue about the purchase, of course, we have to reply to a player where is having a problem with the purchase. But yeah, as I say, we take the SLAs very seriously. And right now it's about 95%, I can say. And sometimes we may have some issues in the game, some technical issues. So it may go down, but overall, we are here to help our players as fast as we can.
Got it. And when you talk about 95% SLA, are you referring to, what exactly are you referring to? Is it a resolution?
I'm referring to replying our players within 24 hours. And we are doing this. We are replying them within 24 hours. And we are aiming to do it even better for upcoming months. Because our players are really important to us, and we want to help them as much as we can, and we want to lead them as best as we can.
Got it. That's a great benchmark to have in mind. So you strive for, or you're currently achieving 95% on replies within 24 hours, it sounds like. So, and then as far as CSAT, I know you talked about 5 being ideal. You know, there are certainly numbers that are lower than that are very, very good for the industry. What do you benchmark yourself against? What is good to you?
Well, for a customer support site, you're always aiming the highest point, the highest number that we can. But for example, from CSAT part, I would say above 4.3 or 4.4. And from the SLA part, above 95%, I would say. Mm-hmm. So anything below that could indicate an issue.
Got it. And Elvin, on your side, when we talk about the App Store ratings, what is your benchmark for a great app score? And is there any correlation between that and CSAT that either of you have experienced?
I'm not sure about the CSAT, but there's a correlation between the App Store ratings and the features we are releasing. Like I can say our players like playing new levels since they will be done with all in no time. So whenever we release new players into the game, like our player ratings skyrocketing, App Store ratings are skyrocketing because they love to have new levels in the game. So we can see that ups and downs whenever we, for example, if we release something like it's just improvements and bug fixes, it doesn't have that much of effect in it as well. But if it's something like an optimization that we are doing to the game, it also like makes an impact to the App Store ratings as well, since they could have some problems before, but whenever we have dealt with that, it also changes. Like, but the most significant one I can say for now, it's the new levels. Like, it's skyrocketing whenever we release them. People love playing new levels for both Merge Magic and Merge Dragons as well.
That's interesting. So if I heard you correctly, when it comes to fixing bugs or improving the quality of the game, that doesn't seem to move the App Store scores as much as introducing new features or new levels.
Actually, it does, but it's not that significant like the new levels, because it's like, I can understand that. I can relate to that because it's a new content that players are going to have fun with. The optimizations and bug fixing part is also important. For example, there were times like we have bugs like people were talking about Discord and Reddit and that kind of social media sites. So whenever we have a release that we are fixing that, we are also sharing that in that channels as well, so people can see and download the newest version without any problems. So it also has an effect because we are making it more suitable and more comfortable for them to play with the game. But like new content is more shiny, like people are more engaged in this kind of stuff. So it shows. And also there is a change that as well, we didn't talk about it. For example, if we have a low rating, and let's say some players said, okay, I have an issue with that, and that happened, our customer support team is getting back to them saying that how can we help, did you try this, or we can do this for you. And then they are changing their reviews and ratings to, for example, 1 star to 5 star. It's also something we are having.
Yeah, it's, well, I mean, there's so many different numbers that you can monitor and manage. It sounds like, each one is an indicator of different player dynamics that probably feel like they're all equally important. And I know that recently the team has deployed AppFollow. Curious about the future. So, we talk a lot about the variety of metrics that both teams, product and support, are measuring. What are you hoping to accomplish out of AppFollow that is going to give you any new insights about the player experience?
Yes, it has been a couple of months since we started to use AppFollow, and we have created templates and tags to reply our players. And with just one click, I'm able to reply our players, and in the end, I can see the analysis of these reviews, and we are able to search and compare these within the countries and languages, and most importantly, versions. And after a while, we would like to see the semantic analysis of it. We would like to see our players, like what did our players write to these reviews mostly. We like to see the trends because it's hard to do it manually. And our players leave tons of reviews every day. So we expect to see a nice analysis within this platform, and then inform our product team and share the report, and then maybe add this feedbacks to the upcoming versions in the game.
Got it. So it sounds like you've got a wealth of quantitative metrics. AppFollow probably gives you that added layer of qualitative metrics around what players are actually saying to you, to each other, so you can take that feedback back to the product teams, it sounds like, and to deliver better support. And that's segmented, so that segmentation is important, which I think you said the languages, the countries, and the games, like game versions.
Yes, exactly. And the most important one is, I think, the game versions, because when we release a new version, there could be a bug in it, so we can immediately release another health fix and release another version, and then go with a clean version and with a clean reviews.
Yep. Yeah, that's important, because I can only imagine how many different versions of a game you've got in market, right? Because not every player is going to upgrade to the latest version every single time. And I'm sure there's different versions for languages and countries as well. So before we go, one last question for the both of you. Let's take it back to the numbers. If you had to pick one metric that mattered the most, if you could stop measuring everything and you only picked one, what would matter the most to you?
It's a really hard question. I think I would go with ARPDAU, because it's something that like we can understand how well our monetization is working. At least we can see the thing that we are doing with the marketing and that kind of stuff into the game, that we need to be sure that that is working. I think I would go with that.
Got it. So ARPDAU, average revenue per player.
Yes, exactly.
Per DAU.
Per daily active user.
Yes. Yep. Sibel, your side, the one metric?
Actually, I would choose maybe two, the CSAT and the ratings. I wanted to see them all with 5 stars and 5-star ratings and reviews would be wonderful.
Got it.
Would be the metric, yeah.
CSAT and App Store ratings.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we would love to see the industry start to converge on fewer metrics that can do its best at representing the overall player experience, both between support and product. And I think we'll get there. So appreciate both of your insights and your time in today's webinar. We look forward to having you back, and maybe you can share a little bit more once you've gotten more time looking at this new layer of insights that you're getting through your app performance and review management. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks so much, Janice. It was really great to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us.